Get ready for your daily dose of WordPress and web development tips, tricks, and insights to help you find success with WordPress. You're listening to WP the Podcast with your hosts, David Blackman and Tim Streifler.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast, brought to you by WP Gears. I'm Tim Streifler, and my co-host David Blackman has been taking some much-needed time off, and so he will be back with us soon. So I apologize, you have to listen to my voice, and I sound like I'm kind of getting sick or losing my voice, so my apologies in advance. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how often you should analyze Google Analytics and Search Console. So we've talked before about Google Analytics as well as Google Search Console and how important they are and how we always recommend installing them on every website, especially Analytics, so you can start tracking data even if you don't have time to look at it now. It'll be there for when you need it later. But I feel like there's often people will either look at Analytics and Search Console way too much or not nearly enough. And so it's usually one or the other, because some people will kind of obsess over it, and it's really easy to get addicted to looking at the numbers and looking at your traffic every day or every hour, or looking at checking the console to make sure there's no error, stuff like that. Or what can also be very addicting is looking at analytics in real time, so you can see how many people are on your site, what pages they're on, where they're coming from in the US, and you can see it as it's happening, and you can kind of follow them through your flow, your funnel, and they're on the checkout page, or they're going to complete the checkout, and it can be a huge time waster. And so, or on the other side, you never open Analytics, or you open it like every 6 months or a year, and then it's like, it's just kind of wasted opportunity, because there's so much insights in there that you can learn about your content, how your users interacting with your content, and make decisions accordingly. So in my opinion, I kind of have two gauges here, minimum and maximum. Minimum, you should look at your analytics monthly. Every month, do a check-in, look at overall traffic, compare it to previous months, look at, figure out any changes that happened. Okay, traffic went down. Where did it go down? Was it, from these sources? Was it on these pages? Was it from these locations? And try to figure out why. If it went up, okay, well, what's working? And kind of analyze and look at the difference. Look at overall for the year. Compare it to the same month last year, because it can be very cyclical, very seasonal, that sort of thing. And so minimum monthly or definitely monthly, kind of to do the monthly check-ins, and then at the max look at it weekly, just to kind of see week to week how the month is progressing. But in my opinion, any more than that is kind of overkill and a time waster, and doesn't really solve anything, because analytics, it's data, it's reporting it. You see it. Well, I was going to say you see it after, but technically you can see it as it's happening in the real time. But it's meant to be looked at once you have enough data to look at. It's not meant to be, it's meant to look at in a macro form opposed to in a micro form. And so you need to be able to look at it big picture and see how things are progressing and how to make changes, and comparing it to past months, past years. And so it doesn't do you a lot of good to obsess over it every day, several times a day type of thing. And so same thing with Search Console, but especially Analytics. Search Console, it's really good. Again, I would say the same thing, minimum monthly, maximum weekly, just to make sure there's no errors. You can see, what keywords people are typing in to get to you, that sort of thing. So there's definitely a lot of useful data there, but Analytics, I feel like, is where people obsess over and look at way too much, or don't look at it at all and miss opportunities. So that is it for today's episode. Tune in tomorrow. We have a WordPress quick tip for you. And so, until then, take care. Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of today's episode of WP the Podcast. Join us tomorrow for more daily tips and strategies designed to help you run your WordPress business toward success. Remember to subscribe to WP the Podcast so you can stay up to date with each episode. And don't forget to rate and review us. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on WP the Podcast.